Alright, so I'm going to quickly demonstrate tracking AprilTags using the guidance sensors, specifically the left cameras on each guidance sensor. So here we can see there's an AprilTag, tracking pretty well. So as you can expect it to. Anyways, just to show that it is tracking via the guidance sensor, I'm going to take it out of view, put it over here. There we go. And the purpose of this is just to show that the guidance can be used to track potential quads, which we can highlight for the X3 camera to zoom in on later to confirm that it is an AprilTag. And you'll notice there is a kind of a blind spot here. Well, it's a much larger blind spot just due to the fact that we're not using both sets of cameras, just the left side. So there's a blind spot here, and there's a blind spot moving to this side, and then it connects. So that's why it's not completely smooth panning across. Get to the back. Come on. There we go. Left. So, given that it's freely spinning around on its yaw axis, there is a chance that it will lock its yaw, because there is a limit. We do have an option to check for it, and there you go. It checked for it and spun all the way around. So the way it basically works is, well, first off, DJI's SDK does provide is yaw limit flag. Unfortunately, it's not implemented in the RS DJI SDK, so I had to implement it myself. I added it to the gimbal message as a boolean, and unfortunately, I couldn't get it to work. Even after locking the yaw axis, it just would never trigger itself to be true. I'm not sure if I wrote something wrong or it's just a bug in the SDK. But anyways, it's not a big deal. There's plenty of other ways to check if the yaw is being limited. So basically the way I approached it was, if there's a control effort being generated in a certain direction and the yaw is not changing, then it's probably reached its yaw limit. Simple as that. And then therefore, from there, trigger a command to spin 180 degrees around and again resume tracking. And the reason I specify spinning 180 degrees, there's really no point having it spin the full 360 or 270 or 300 to get around, because the tracking will automatically take care of it. So once it spins about 180 and plus 180 plus a little more and then resumes tracking, it will automatically track in the right direction to prevent the yaw lock. So I'll just demonstrate it again. Wires are in the way. In the back. There we go. And there we go. Locks and unlocks itself. So this is actually also important for tracking a vehicle. There is a chance we do use the gimbal to spin it around to center the landing zone. And the aircraft isn't always aligned with the vehicle. It just does whatever is optimal. So there's a chance of the gimbal spinning all the way around and getting locked. But with this algorithm, it does prevent it. Ideally, it's still not great to lock the yaw, just because you will lose tracking for it momentarily. Especially for landing, that can be a big deal. So we do, for our landing sequence, our yaw control is a little more conservative, and we do tie the aircraft's yaw into the gimbal's yaw, so they check each other and make sure that the gimbal doesn't get locked on its yaw axis. So probably won't see it happen on the landing tracking, but for AprilTag searching, it might happen. And just another thing to highlight, the guidance are tracking just on the left camera, but for the landing sequence, we are using actually both the guidance cameras on the bottom. And as you can see, they have no problems tracking. How far am I? I'm about 1 meter away, a little under a meter. So the guidance cameras will be great for tracking the last leg of the landing, especially these smaller 6cm 16H5s that are used on the truck. And the fact that there's 2 of them, we can actually use it to get a better estimate on the pose. And that's it. That's just a quick demo showing full tracking on the guidance sensors and the fact that we implemented an anti-yaw lock. Alright, here we go.